What happens when a Busty Knight teams up with an orc to bring us manga? We have the Knight Cartoonist and her Orc Editor.
That man and his merch.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we are bringing a review of the Knight Cartoonist and her Orc Editor. A manga that is quite strange. Now, if you do like this kind of content, please remember to leave a like. Please remember to consider subscribing, it really does help out. And join me and get excited as we look at this unique title. Now, it's not uncommon to have manga about making manga. Series like Bakuman is still one of the most read manga to this day. It still gives people an insight into how the manga process works. But what happens when you replace the mangaka with a knight with very low self-esteem issues and the editor with an orc who just wants to do his job? You have this. Now, this is a title I picked up digitally because, yeah, I needed some new stuff to read on the plane, and I thought, you know what, I fancy something a little bit different. And I got this, and you know what, it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie, it's not going to break any new ground, it's not going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm still going to see if you want to get into learn a little bit more about making manga. Bakuman is a little bit better for that. Or you can look at some other stuff like Shirobako, the anime about making anime, which is absolutely fantastic and a really good treat. But this Cartoonist Knight and her Orc Editor was quite charming. Rather than really revolving around the Cartoonist Knight, it actually really focuses on the Orc Editor. And I thought that was a nice little change. The Orc Editor, he's kind of like sick of his whole kind of life. Everything is going bad for him. Whenever he does anything, people think, oh, it's a scary monster trying to attack the pure maidens. And he just wants to bring manga to the world. So he eventually becomes a manga editor. And I thought that was quite unique. I thought it was quite nice that instead of the focus being on the mangaka themselves, it was about the editor and the deadlines and everything that they need to be done. He quickly gets a client who is a very busty knight who has a lot of very low self-esteem. She wants to become a mangaka or cartoonist, and she's not really good. She dreams of having really good stuff, but she just doesn't know much. And what I really liked about her is that she focuses on stuff that she's been brought up with. Everyone she knows, all of her family, all of her friends are all knights. So she has this impression that a shoujo should be about a young girl who's got a sword and who's just been a knight and just like, well, what thou up to, foul knave, stuff. And he's just like, yeah, this isn't what the demographic wants. Which is quite weird because I probably could see a lot of people who are into shoujo probably would like to see a female strong protagonist like that. I personally would love to see something like that. I know we've got Yona of the Dawn, which is still very shoujo-ish, which is perfectly fine, but yeah, a shoujo knight series, I'm up for that. But her drawing isn't particularly great, and obviously in true Ecchi fashion, whenever she has low self-esteem, whenever she's told something that isn't right, her claws explode and she's just like, no! In fact, if you have seen the series, think of Darkness from Konosuba as if she was a mangaka. She's just like, no, I'm going to cast my life aside for this. And it's all of that weird stuff that it does actually work as a bit of comedic stuff. Yeah, it's an ecchi, you expect that, you're expecting that from the cover, but it wasn't really done for overly ridiculous titillation, which was quite funny. It was used more for humour and effect. One of the things I was like, when I was reading, I was just like, one of the assistants she gets is a tentacle artist. They're like, oh yeah, it's one of the best assistants ever, but he's just got his own way, and he's just like, I don't want to do this, I want to write this stuff. It's like everyone thinks I just want to do tentacle ecchi stuff, but I don't. I want this great manga. But he's only really good at drawing tentacles. So they end up teaming up, and they end up doing a weird kind of thing until he kind of leaves. But then after the first few chapters, it's kind of like we start kind of getting more into the kind of Monster Girl typical stuff like we've seen in stuff like Monster Musume, Plus Sized Elf, or Nurse Hitomi's infirmary. And that it kind of becomes the monster of the week, kind of relating to manga though. And I really like the way they approached this. One of the chapters very early on is about a mangaka who is just been going on forever and ever. I suppose it's supposed to be more like Tezuka, because they're like, oh well, he was alive during the war and he's kind of got the beret and all of that kind of jazz, but he looks very young. But it's also kind of a little jab at stuff like One Piece, where it just kind of goes on, and he's just been going on and on and on for years, and it's a they kind of realise that the chief editor has been like just keeping them alive using magic just so he can continue, and he's just like, originally he's just like, I just want to end, I just want it to end. And it's kind of one of those ones where he's like, he just wants to end, but he's kind of trapped himself in this kind of ongoing series, much like the creators of Hunter x Hunter and Berserk, where you can tell that they're kind of wanting to move away from the series that they're going on with, but they're kind of too far deep that they're kind of stuck there. He's kind of like that. And one of the things I did like is that when he realised that he's going to have eternal life, he's kind of just like, oh, brilliant, I'll just continue writing. I've actually got 100 volume arc planned out, and it was just like, One Piece. And it's one of those things that I really did like, where they kind of like, the mangaka who's been going on forever, they're kind of like, well, I kind of want to end it before I die, but then he's kind of like, but if I could live for it forever, I'll just continue on forever. It was really nice, and the stuff I really enjoyed about it is how it kind of became not just about just making manga, it kind of became rather ridiculous and silly. There was like stuff about mimics giving people the ultimate desires, which was to make good manga, and I really liked that kind of aspect for it. I'm not sure how much content there is going to be for this, because as much as I liked it, it kind of did feel like it was getting a lot of the great ideas out the way sooner rather than later. And there's only about 4 or 5 chapters in this. It's one of these once a month kind of things. I will be looking forward to volume 2 onwards, because like I said, it was quite fun, it was quite interesting, and I did really enjoy what I read. It's not going to be a priority, and I'm glad I picked it up digitally rather than picking up the volume, because it's one of those ones where I think if I picked up the volume I'd be like, yeah, it's nice, but I don't really want it on my shelf. So I'll kind of have that caution. So ultimately, the Cartoonist Knight and her Orc Editor is a fun, wacky series. It's got ecchi, and it's got a lot of fun revolving around the mangaka subplot, or the mangaka plot. It doesn't go out of its way to be anything exceptional, and if you do want that itch, you're better off going with Shirobako or Bakuman as your kind of manga anime related creating things. But if you kind of want a little bit more and you don't mind the ecchi, it's definitely one that I would personally recommend at least giving a shot. Okay, then that's it for me, and if you did like this, please remember to subscribe, leave a comment on what you felt of this series if you've read it. If not, let me know if you check it out and what you feel about it. And yeah, if you do like this kind of stuff, why not check out my review on Monster Musume Volume 15, the beginning of the end, so to speak. And yeah, remember to subscribe and enjoy everything. Thanks for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye.